Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session today. It's a LinkedIn live session on building equity, understanding ESOP cashless exercise. This is our follow-up session, which we did one for ESOP cashless exercise and funding on the 8th of February. So this is in continuation to that. And today we promised to make it an exhilarating journey into the world of employee ownership with a special focus on the dynamic realm of cashless exercise. We have Rupam and Rahul who are here to shed light on this innovative facet of equity participation. From uncovering the perks of cashless exercises to dispelling common myths and tackling real life challenges unique to ESOPs, we've curated around a lineup of questions, and Rupam and Rahul will help us address those. I won't be the only one asking questions. I would definitely request all the attendees to drop in their questions, if at all any, so we can address them at the end of the session or maybe in between based on the time limit that we have. Quickly, I'll move on to the speakers. I'll give a brief introduction, but would like them to add to it. So we have Rupam, who is the Vice President and Group Head for Performance and Rewards at JSW. She brings in extensive experience in human resource and invaluable insights into employee stock ownership plans. Rupam, over to you to quickly, let give us a line or two about your introduction, please.
Thanks, Benaaz. As you said, that I'm currently part of JSW Group. It's a $35 billion conglomerate primarily into metal and mining and the allied industries. We have 4 listed companies, and then there are various other listed companies. So while we are present in steel, energy, infrastructure business, when I say infrastructure, is basically the ports business. So we are the second largest private company in the ports business after Adani Ports, and we have cement, paints, sports, venture, all these companies. We have recently got into a venture with MG Motors. So the group is a very diversified conglomerate. I take care of entire group performance and rewards. Prior to that, I have worked with different sectors. My majority of experience has been with IT and pharma. I've been doing compensation for about 13 years now. So through in and throughout. And yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this conversations with Rahul.
Thank you, Rupam, for joining us. Over to Rahul. So we have our renowned expert who heads the consulting and operations function at Qapita. Rahul's expertise in equity management has helped numerous companies optimize their plans. Rahul, could you please share a line or two about yourself with the audience?
Yeah, sure, sure, Benaaz, and thanks for to be part of this conversation with Rupam. It's my pleasure. So about myself, so I joined ESOP Direct 12 years back. So it's a total of around 15 years experience. 12 years in equity compensation, and others are like I was with PricewaterhouseCoopers earlier. So it's a more like a compliance there, and now it is a fully equity based compensation. Talking about ESOP Direct and Qapita, so we did last time around more than 250 advisory assignments in total, and more than 650 valuation. So ESOP Direct or Qapita, you can say it's an end-to-end service provider from consulting to valuation to managing it on platform. And if I talk about platform clients, we are like serving more than 2000 clients on our platform, and out of this around 100 companies are listed companies. Many are NSE BSE. So this is and thanks Benaaz for inviting me for this wonderful conversation. I'm looking for it, and this is something is the topic is very close to my heart. It's if you see talk about ESOPs, it's like personally I'm very excited for this.
Great, Rahul. It's fun to have you on board as well. Thank you for your time. So to everybody who is here, I'm Benaaz and I'm part of ESOP Direct since 2017. Now Qapita. I'll be moderating the session and asking questions to both Rahul and Rupam, and we'll go through this webinar quickly. So Rahul, I would kind of want to ask you the first question here. So, what do you think are the key benefits that employees experience when they choose to participate in a cashless exercise? or what are the top advantages that employees enjoy when they opt for this mode of exercise within an ESOP plan? Could you shed some light on it, please?
Sure, Benaaz, and I think this is the great question to start actually. That what are the benefits of doing it? And we always, I mean, it's like when the employees goes for exercise, there are too many things in hand. He need to manage his cash flow. He need to manage his taxation, and with the all that regulatory part, he need to their documentation as well. So in that sense, if I start with the benefits, the first important benefit for employees are minimum cash outflow actually, because he does not need to pay anything, which helps him in the from avoiding the financial burden. He can directly exercises and get the shares in his or her demat account. So that is the I will say biggest advantages in a cashless exercise. The other advantages in similar to this is like it is also a cost effective thing for employees, and especially from a foreign nationals, because if we see the cashless exercise outside India is very popular. In India, it will be more like a sell partial, where we can sell only that much shares which is required to cover the exercise price, taxes, and some expenses. From a foreign national point of view, it is a cost effective, because when it comes from a cross border transaction, he does not need to send any money to India. He can exercise and get the net shares in his or her demat account. That is the biggest thing, because transactions between the cross border also has a lot of documentation, and plus it has a higher bank charges as well. The employees are also exposed to exchange gain and loss. So that is something is important. Yes, all this process needs some RBI approval, but that is not very cumbersome. It is a one time job the company needs to do, but the cashless can be extended to foreign nationals as well. The other thing is like from the company side, I will say it is more simplified process, where they means the simplified process, why I say, because they don't worry about collecting the money, reconciling it, whether taxation has been collected completely, the full amount has been come or not. So from the process point of view, it is more simplified, where means, yeah, it is to trust actually. From the Indian context, the trust can manage all these things actually. That he just need to see that okay, the employee has confirmed that he want to go for a cashless exercise, and the remaining part the trust can manage it. And when you do for employee, it may be a one transaction in a year for the exercise, but for the trust it is a regular transaction. So the process will be very much simplified. They know when to do what, they can manage the timelines, they can manage the simplicity. So these are the some of the I will say the biggest advantages in cashless exercise when we offer this thing to employee, when the companies offer this, that they can do the cashless exercise. The other part I will say also comes from the unlisted companies point of view, because in case of unlisted companies as well, the cashless exercise can be managed. So that is also where you can make the process, and even in unlisted companies the employee will not go out of pocket. He can do a cashless exercise without investing money. And yeah, in a only thing, in an unlisted company the timeline is little longer, so even it is more beneficial because he has not invested the money, so there is no fund blocking for him actually. The other parts are more like you are out of the market fluctuation and all. So these are some of the advantages I will see when the companies when the companies offer cashless exercise to employees, and employees enjoy this benefit.
Perfect. So you've shared quite a few benefits, Rahul, even from the company side. I guess Rupam must have picked up a few points. So Rupam, the next question is definitely for you. So what inspired your company to introduce a cashless exercise feature? And if you can also share a few details around the positive changes that you've noticed in terms of the employee experience, how it has impacted the employee experience for you.
Yeah. So as Rahul was mentioning, there are different type of stock options plan that companies generally roll out. There are plans where companies rolling out stock options generally at a market price or even at a little bit of a discount, say 20%, 30%. Then there are generally deep discounted, stock options or RSUs meant for employees with the purpose of retentions and all of that. Now the thing is this, that if these grants are frequent and if these grants are given at market price and all of that, it would require employees to put a lot of money to acquire those shares. Now there are times when these amount of money becomes big, also the taxation part. So this is important, that when you are creating a process where you are helping employees to reduce their cash outflow, they can understand the entire process. They understand that with a cashless exercise, how much of shares will be required to be sold, in terms of settling the cost of those shares and whatever is their taxation liabilities are. Based on that, they can take a very, very informed call whether they want to go for a purchase option or they want to go for a cashless option. So one thing is, when you are putting up a technology, when you are putting up a platform where all the options are available to employees based on their personal financial situation, they can analyze what option suits their interest, and based on that they can do the exercise. That's the first thing. Second thing, from a administrative purpose, so for example, in JSW in 2021 we rolled out the scheme where entire organization participated. So we had almost 26,000 employees participated through different programs, different companies, different programs participated in such a scheme. Now when you have such a volume of employees participating in such a scheme, managing the administration is a mammoth task, and hence that can be done only if there is a platform which is managing your employee experience, because you'd want them to tell everything, give them all the options, educate them, aware them time to time, and help them to exercise their options and get their shares in a demat in a very paperless, very seamless manner. So this entire thing is done through the tech platforms. And going forward, what I'm seeing, the trends of giving ESOP to majority of employees is increasing. I think HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, all of them are taking steps in those direction, where a large amount of employees are kind of participating, because these are wealth generation tools. The appreciation in the stock, if the company is very confident about the growth path, future of the company, the appreciation comes from the market rather than coming from the books of the company or the PNL of the company. And hence these are very, very strong instrument, not only for the top leadership level but also for the medium and junior level, where you can probably target retention. And these are very cost optimized options. So it is important that a larger chunk of employee base participate in such plans. Company can leverage on that. And if you are planning to roll out for a large segment of population, tech is the only solution to ensure that the experience of these processes, administration of these processes, ensuring the compliance and the accounting requirements, all are seamless and without any hassle. So based on that, I think that is what we thought when we were thinking about rolling out a entire organization wide program in JSW.
Okay, great. So, definitely, Rupam. So, I wanted to kind of also delve into any success stories. So, I understand that you shared an organization-wide rollout. So, and also emphasized on technology. So, Rahul, I would want to hear from you. Considering the uh, uh, aspects of different information that admins have to kind of tackle or employees have to go through. What is it that how important is the role of technology in streamlining and enhancing this cashless experience for employees as well as the admins? Could you help us throw some light on it, please?
Yeah, sure, Benaaz. And actually, Rupam has covered the very good point that when you have a large population, the tech is the only thing, means to
Right.
reach out every employee who is in the last line of the thing. He should be aware of that what is going on, and the technology or the tools are the only thing when you reach to the last person. Actually, very important, because in any ESOP plan, even and with the cashless exercise, the transparency and communication is very important. And with the tool, and the everyone should know that okay, what is there, how, what is the gain for me, how I should do it. And these can be done only through some tool or the educational program, and these educational programs generally works on these platforms only, that where step by step what need to be done actually, because it should not happen. And especially when Rupam has said that when they cover the such a large population, the first thing in the management mind is also that everybody should get the benefit. And if the people are not getting the benefit, somewhere it is the whole plan has not served the purpose actually. And with the technology, you can collaborate between the different departments, you can collaborate with the employees, you can communicate well with them along with the accounting. And plus you can have a real time data as well, that okay, how many employees are exercising, why they are not exercising. This will give a very useful data when you roll out with a new plan. You come to know what are the problems employees are facing, because if you don't go with a tool, if you don't have technology, it is very difficult. And the numbers Rupam has said, that the and JSW, we know it's a like a
I think Rahul's network is.
sorry, now it's clear, sorry.
Yes, yes, Rahul, you're back.
So I was talking about that when means Rupam has talked about it's a organization wide ESOP plan, and with a 14,000 to 20,000 employees, reaching out to everyone without technology is actually means I will say it's a nightmare for the HR team as well. So you need a technology, Benaaz, there. And it also a feel good factor for the employees as well, because they know what is happening with their options, they know what are the options available to them for exercise, and a very clear communication from the organization as well. So you can put many FAQs there, they can understand from the desktop, they can know what is the benefit they are getting. So in my view, technology is one of the thing which is very much required to reach out to everyone in the organization.
All right. Great. So we've spoken about benefits. We spoke about the success story also, and how technology kind of will help us do this effectively. Moving on to challenges or misconceptions around the entire cashless exercises. So, Rahul, what are the prevailing misconceptions about cashless exercises from your viewpoint? And how can we kind of effectively clarify these misconceptions today?
So Benaaz, actually, I will say misconception, or I will say the lack of knowledge between the, because the people who has not tried it out, there may be little bit of lack of knowledge. And when it is a lack of knowledge, people feel that it is a very complex process actually. So
Yes.
I start with, people feel that the cashless is a very complex process. You need a trust, how it will get managed, how the compliances will be done. But when you go into this, when you see, it is a very simplified process actually. If you see, it is more simplified rather than it is coming from outside. So in my view, the biggest misconceptions among the company and even the employees are that it is a very administrative hassles. It will be more tax burden on the company, on the employee. These are some of the misconceptions which can be clear out with a proper educational workshops along with the company and the employee. And when you prepare a process step by step, actually you come to know that it is not so cumbersome. Yes, somewhere the communication is very much required, because sometimes the compliances comes on the ESOP trust, like for example, like insider trading regulations will be there, where sometimes they say that you can't go with a cashless exercise for some period of time because of the insider trading regulations. So these things can be communicated properly so that everybody knows it, that it is okay, from for this time cashless is not available, but for the whole year it is available. So in my view, it is a lack of knowledge rather than, I will say, misconceptions. And it may be clear out with the knowledge workshops, and with the discussions, with a proper process step by step. So this is something from my end.
Right. So we'll also cover a few details on tips and strategies, but before that, I would want to ask Rupam. So, Rupam, from your perspective, what are the possible challenges or drawbacks that companies may kind of encounter when they want to implement cashless exercises?
So, what I think Rahul did mention about some of the myths around cashless exercise. A proper understanding of this exercise is very, very important. Second thing is, see, there are different kind of organization. You know, some are listed, some are not listed. Then there are organization, especially the startups, where you generally the liquidation event happens either at IPO or at sometimes if there is a private equity event happening and a third party investor is coming in and organization is allowing the employees to use their portion of stock options to be sold to those investor at whatever price the investor is asking or whatever is the FMV, etc. Now the thing here is this, that the cashless exercise part, comes from the scheme part, that how the whole value creation will be happening for an employee, where exactly the employee will be getting money from. And when I say employee, there are various types of employee, Benaaz. One aspect of technology we also missed discussing was when when an employee retires or when an employee dies and you have family members who may have very very limited understanding of such a thing, and there are times they don't understand what exactly cashless means, or if you say okay some shares will be sold, there is they might be understanding it very differently. Okay, you are going to be asking money from me or something like that.
Right,
It
right.
is important that when a scheme is started out, it should have a complete details of how employee will be getting the money. If it is settled in cash, if it is settled in shares, then how they will be getting, who will be giving them, who is going to be paying for what, and how to make it more conducive for employees. So tomorrow if you have given me a stock option plan of any company, and you say that okay Rupam, you can get a share equivalent to in at a price which is in future date, and today I'm giving you in say at a very nominal price, who will pay this nominal price, how will you pay? So can I use my payroll processes to be paying for this? Can taxes be adjusted in payroll, and or will it be considered some kind of advance? So how the compliance plays. So it is a complex topic, I don't deny on that, but it can be simplified. It needs to be well thought through when the scheme is getting created, when the scheme is getting implemented for any kind of technology, and hence a need for a very robust technology partner would be required, because they are the one who kind of also help you to understand what are the potential challenges that might come. See, if you have only 10-20 senior leadership people managing these kind of things, you can probably help them out by even manually doing it for them. But when you have an employee base of such a large number, communicating it to them, telling them everything, all the details becomes a little tricky exercise. Second thing is, within cashless exercise you have an opportunity to experiment with a lot other instrument within the ambit of ESOP. So it's not only that stock options plan. In case if there are companies where stock option plans do not fly off, either the board is not in alignment with the way those, I mean, that is still is a classic example. They do not go for ESOP. They have been trying but they haven't gone for it. But the thing here is this, there are a lot of other things that can be managed, different instrument can be managed. So what exactly is your instrument, how that scheme of that instrument is being designed, how you have implemented that design, and of course if the cashless is a part of it, because that will help you and your employees to understand this process clearly. So from a company perspective, I think a very detailed out scheme and process note is something that needs to be worked around. Second point is, there are different touch point when you talk about a cashless exercise. The touch points are employee, the touch points are your payroll team, the touch points are your tax team, the touch points are your finance team. So all these teams are also there, and hence it is important. Then you have CS and compliance on the top of it. So your exercise process has to speak to all these stakeholders and manage their touch points very very effectively. Otherwise you may be focused on employee experience, but if the remaining process falls apart, it will again create a one big challenge. In fact, in the beginning, we struggled with that, but going forward, we have settled those processes. So I would say that all stakeholders in this entire process needs to be identified. What are their KRAs, KPIs, responsibilities? Everything needs to be identified, and based on that, a robust process mechanism around cashless should be there before you are implementing the same for the employees.
Great, great. Thanks, Rupam. So basically, from quite a few questions and from what responses I've heard, communication is very, very vital in this. And you also mentioned different touch points, Rupam, as to employee finance, payroll, CS compliance. So, what are some of the effective strategies that we can adopt for clear communication, and how will it lead to an advantage for us in this cashless exercise of options? So not just to employees but to the different admins and teams involved in tackling and taking care of this process day to day.
So, thanks, Benaaz, on that question. One point, as I mentioned, a very, very robust SOP is required for each user base. For employee base, because they are the most sensitive portion in this entire process. The only way to make them understand is training and training and training. Now every time bringing them in a classroom and speaking to them is not going to help. There are times when, no matter how much of FAQ documents you upload, no matter how much of help you give them, they will still not go through. Generally it happens with all of us, right? We
Yes,
never read those heavy documents. We will
yes,
get into the trouble once, and then we will ask our HR. And so you have to create, champions who can understand these processes and programs really well. So you have to take multi-faceted approach in terms of managing the communication. It cannot be a one-time affair, because
right,
every time the vesting will be there, every time the exercise window opens. If there are companies, I remember, who used to put a cap on exercise window just to manage volume.
volume,
Now,
correct,
with the kind of things changing in the market, you have to become a lot more agile, lot more flexible, give them the entire window, and your remaining process becomes very. So technology, again, you will have to take it to use it for communicating. Now there are interesting ways of making learning on such things little more exciting, little more interesting, so that people can understand. We also have to understand the way we explain these concept to a layman, because there
right,
are employees who really do not understand how the taxation on ESOP. There are employees who will not understand that with ESOP value, probably their tax bracket might change. You know,
right,
they might come back to you saying that you have deducted more tax, all these
right,
kind of things. So there are very, very minuscule thing which people need to understand. And I go back on the same point, saying you have to have a very detailed process scheme and an SOP, so that the various other partners, so you have to create champions in the employee base, you have to create champions in the HR base, because even within the HR fraternity there is very limited understanding of such plans and how the things work. So it is important that the more communication, more training, more awareness, creative way of managing the employees queries. Even AI chatbot in future can take up these kind of things and help, gives the prompt to employees that, okay, do this, do that, whatever can help. So that's what I will say on communication.
That was lovely, Rupam. I got a few points for myself here because we manage a lot of cashless exercise windows. So thank you so much for sharing the insight. So this is one final question, Rahul, for you. So what practical tips would you offer for companies who want to improve their ESOP plans by adding cashless exercise options? Any
So
straightforward solutions or knowledge around this? And especially you touched upon very lightly on the unlisted bit. If you could also kind of share a brief around that area, would help all of us.
sure. Vinay. And actually, what Rupam has said is absolutely right. The SOPs and creating a champ within the means, yes, you can hire experts, you can have a technology, but inside the HR team, you need champions who knows the things actually, and that is a very important. So if you ask me from the practical side, I have something in mind, but I take something from Rupam that yes, you need. So first thing is the communicate. Anytime the employee should know, and second, yes, you should also from the other side of the table, from the HR side, you should create a champ in each bucket actually, so that they can also whenever the employee is coming, and it is very important that they they can explain them, they can guide them, even if means what is the cashless, how it can be done. So that is something. The other things, yes, the part is like a employee workshops, which also Rupam touched upon, that you should have an employee workshop where you can train them. Actually, you can tell them what is the impact of if you do exercise under the cashless or the normal, or what are the pros and cons. So the when the employee is doing it, they know about that, okay, what they are doing. So it should not be that, okay, they just follow the thing. It is like this is their own decision. So that is very, very important. We are talking about cashless, but I will suggest that the company should also give flexibility to the employees. So it should not be only cashless. If somebody wants to own the shares, so you can offer the other things as well, like a normal exercise where he can own the shares as well. So it's not only that we only focus on cashless. We should give a maximum flexibility to the employees, so that so that they can opt by their own choice, according to their own circumstances, according to their own choice. They can exercise the options either under cashless or in the normal. Some of the other points very important is the compliance side, actually, which is very, very important, because all these processes are also governed by the regulation somewhere and other. Like you have a SEBI insider trading regulations, you have securities laws, you have taxation, you have Companies Act. So we should, the SOPs what we are preparing, we need to touch upon all these things, where we are in compliance with all of these laws, because every law has a different impact on the exercise. So that is very, very important, that the compliance part you should not, I mean, look upon. It should be seen very properly, because otherwise we should not be the other side of the law. That is something is my suggestions for the companies who wants to go for cashless exercise. The other is, one more thing I just want to add here is, you should evaluate also that, okay, how many employees are adopting for cashless. If you have offered this thing to employees, you should also do that analysis, that, okay, whether the employees are going, not going, what is the reason. Actually, the reason may be normal, that, okay, he does not want, he wants to hold the shares. That may be absolutely fine. But from the company side, I will suggest that you should have that analysis as well, that whatever exercise employees are doing, you should have an analysis, that what is the trend, why they are doing it, or it needs more communication or employee education. So that is required. Benaaz, you have asked one more question around the unlisted companies. Actually, unlisted companies cashless exercise is also a very big topic. I don't know whether we have time today to touch upon this, but just means I go back to one of the misconceptions, that cashless can't happen in a unlisted company, which is not the fact. Actually, when the new investor, or the you or the promoters, or the any third person is ready to buy shares from the employee, you can anyways plan it as a cashless exercise. Even the buyback of shares can be planned as a cashless exercise. The major advantages in the cashless exercise, that employee do not need to pay anything, and the process should be simple, which can be done in a unlisted companies as well. Yes, it needs a discussions, it needs all parties sit together, know about the thing, like shareholders, like your board, the investor. But it can be done. It can be done either through escrow account or a trust account, by looking at all the regulations, the taxation, everything. But it can be done. So that is something I can come with, that with the proper SOPs, with the proper process, we can do it. So
Yeah.
maybe we don't have that much time. Maybe we
Right.
can keep it
Correct.
for the next
Yeah.
LinkedIn live, where we can focus on this
Yeah.
particular.
So I think the agenda for the next one, I think we can have this, or we can craft out something on the, because it's a vast topic on the unlisted side. Definitely we could you plan something in the future. But yes, so the questions, in the interest of time, the questions also we were able to cover what we thought in terms of benefits and misconceptions and strategies that could kind of aid into this feature for ESOP plans. I would like to say thank you to Rupam and Rahul. Your insights have been valuable, and they've been like adding rocket to fuel to our understanding of ESOP cashless exercises. And definitely, we've learned through the session. I also have my notes from what Rupam would kind of expect in terms of communication, etc. So it's played out well for me. And thank you to everyone who's joined online. And I hope the information has helped everyone debunk myths and offered practical tips as well. And we'll keep the conversation going. We'll plan out something on another day for maybe at the unlisted side. For now, I would like to say thank you to everybody, and I would like to say sign off by saying, everyone, please remember when it comes to staying financially fit in the world of ESOP, forget the gym membership because cashless exercises have got your back and your wallet too. Thank you so much, Rupam.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much,
Rahul.
Vinay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks
Thanks,
a lot.
Rahul.
Thanks, Rupam.
Have
Thanks.
a
Nice
good
talking.
day.
Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.